Obama's core message is hope. He's been called the Pope of Hope. And this has put the Clinton camp and the McCain camp in the awkward position of being anti-hope. And there's been a great deal of trashing of that quality we call optimism. But, does it speak to a need not only of the American people, but also of the world? The reason I hope for Obama is that he alone has the chance to reposition America's image in the world. It's interesting that Osama bin Laden, for instance, classifies Americans as consisting of Jews and infidels and Freemasons, and also the slaves, which is his word for black Americans. How will he feel about a slave president? And the kind of reflexive anti-Americanism we're so used to here and elsewhere in Europe will also find itself in a multicultural tangle. It's easy to hate Bush. It won't be easy to hate Obama. He will be in a position to leapfrog over the kind of self-imposed obstacles that most of the leaders have settled for. He will be able to talk to Ahmadinejad and perhaps with Hamas. Questions of respect and face are tremendously important in world politics, and reaching out to Iran would create a kind of, a self-respect that has so far been lacking. The President of the United States is, by definition, the most powerful man in the world and most powerful man in world history. Sarkozy and Angela Merkel won't need to like him, to listen to him. And yet he will have this aura of freshness. I expect him to be as attractive to them as he is to many of us.
Martin Amis from his home in Regent's Park to our little home here in Westminster. Welcome to This Week. Good to see you. Why do you think that we care so much about this particular presidential election?
Well, it is very striking, isn't it? I mean, no one gave a damn whether it was John Kerry or John Edwards, but I think we are all tremendously engaged. We all have visceral reactions to Hillary and to Obama. McCain is off to one side for the time being. In every living room in England, I think there's a kind of war, and it's probably to do with identity politics staring one in the face in a way that it hasn't for many years.
Did I get the impression that one of the main reasons why you want Obama is because you think one of the main things that has to be done is to try and end this anti-Americanism elsewhere, and that he is the most likely to make us pro-American again?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big job, and many years will be needed to do that. But when you think back to after September the 11th, the great glow of sympathy all over the world, including in Tehran and Karachi,
even Paris, Le Monde, we're all Americans now.
That's a little more understandable. But the Shia Muslims had candlelit vigils for Americans, and it was a great a universal feeling that was then really wantonly squandered by the Bush administration.
Diane, Mr. Obama, the senator's had a tricky week. Can he still win?
I don't know. It's almost as if that everybody knew if he won Texas and Ohio, he would be the Democratic candidate. And it's almost as if you've asked blue-collar America, do you want a black man's Democratic candidate? And they've turned around and said no.
Because he finds it hard to win in the big states where there's a big blue-collar vote.
Yeah. I mean, the paradox is, I would say, and I'm a big Obama fan, as the world knows, but I think at this point, Hillary's probably marginally more likely to win the nomination. But he still remains, I think, more likely to beat McCain. And the problem is, Hillary can only get the nomination by reducing her own party to rubble.
Obama's appeal is that he will change things. He says he will change things. Change is the buzzword in the Obama campaign. Is that linked? Is this a sense that people feel that he will have an ability to change things? Is that linked to him being black?
Yeah, unquestionably. I mean, as one keeps on having to remind everyone, women are not a minority, although there's never been one in the White House. And I think part of the problem is that when a woman candidate gets near power or embraces power, they become more masculine than men. They're toxic with testosterone just to get there. They have to show that they're tougher than anyone. Whereas with Obama, you know, he isn't descended from American slaves, but no black man in America grows up without feeling that wound. And I think that is sort of movingly present in what he does. And by the way, I mean, Hillary Clinton terrifies me with her sort of egoism. You know, you feel her ambition from here. And if she fails, then I'll tell you one thing that's going to happen. She's going to divorce Bill Clinton.
Oh, sure.
That's move number one.
Yeah.
You know, she can't hate herself, so but God has sent a substitute in the form of a husband. Whereas Obama seems to be floating above this.
He also lives. If he loses, he lives to fight another day.
That's true.
As well. Are you toxic with testosterone, Diane?
No, I mean, my problem with Hillary, I was quite pro-Hillary.
I know you were.
Because, you know, you thought she's been married to Bill Clinton. He's been screwing around for years. She deserves something, you know what I mean? But, I mean, the fact
What,
is...
just the presidency of the most powerful country in the world?
Yeah. But, you know, the thing is, she's scarcely a feminist icon. I mean, she's running now as a surrogate for Bill.
Are we letting, when we look in this way at Obama, this positive way, are we allowing style to triumph over substance?
Yes, I think we are. I mean, actually, I agree with Martin's analysis. I think many of the things he says are absolutely right. But I think you've also got to think about certain downsides. We don't know what will be the impact of his lack of experience. We don't really know whether trying to close with Iran is the right thing to do. We don't know whether withdrawing from Iraq would be a disaster or a success.
Yes,
we don't know what would be the consequence of letting 250 people out of Guantanamo Bay. We don't know what would be the result. Let me finish, please.
Well,
we don't know what would be
I never do normally.
Be quiet.
We don't know what would be the result of Obama, with all these hopes that are resting on him, yours and the world's hopes, being just a great big disappointment, because we have so little experience of what he's like. He could be a great big disappointment.
Diane?
It's not style over substance. For one thing, he's actually fought. I mean, I've followed this campaign sort of minute by minute.
Almost like an anorak.
You know, and he's actually fought technically a far better ground campaign than Hillary has. All this stuff about Hillary's 35 years of experience, please, on that basis, Laura Bush should be the Republican candidate.
Yeah, I've always been a little bit puzzled about
35
the experience.
years, yeah.
But that shows you can fight a good campaign. That is different from running a country and, quote, changing the world.
But I think Hillary's experience, so-called experience and battle-tested thing, is completely overstated.
But you see, man, you just look at the last 24 hours. We've had today this terrible event in Jerusalem of the young people being gunned down in a Jewish seminary. We've had even more terrible events in Iraq, where the death toll has been horrendous. We had the events in Gaza only 24 hours before, and this massive change in Russia, massive because it's not really a change at all. Mr. Putin still the puppet master. Where are Obama's qualifications to deal with any of that?
I think freshness, not being deformed by the Washington system. I mean, you know, to begin with, it's an embarrassment to have America saddled with these dynasties. I mean, it's a evolutionary failure.
It wasn't what the founding fathers imagined.
No,
it's like how backward they are on gun control and capital punishment. You know, it's a third world anachronism.
I think, for example, to take the Hamas thing, I think it's probably quite true what Martin says, that, you know, Hamas would probably be more willing to engage with Obama than they have been with Bush. There's no doubt about that. But the real problem, I think, is not the failure to engage with the American president, is the failure of anyone on the Palestinian side or the Israeli side to control their own people. And having Barack Obama in the White House is not suddenly going to make strong leaders emerge for the Israelis or the Palestinians. You still have that problem.
If Barack Obama becomes president, the best and brightest of the, you know, of the democratic establishment and policy wonks will gather around him.
As they did with Kennedy in 1960.
Yeah, it'll be that. So
though I suppose looking back now, for Kennedy's reputation, You could say that it's never been, it is so huge because he was gunned down in 1963.
Sure,
The achievements were
sure.
not that great. It was Johnson who followed him
Yeah.
who had the achievements.
But nonetheless, Barack will have his pick of advisors.
Well, I can tell there were 21 major bills in the Kennedy's first administration. Only 5 got through. The rest got through under Johnson.
Yeah, but Kennedy took us through the Cuban Missile Crisis. Sorry, that was my point.
After the Bay of Pigs.
Yeah, after the Bay of Pigs, yes, I know, but he took us through the Cuban Missile Crisis.
I suppose the point is Martin, that we know from JFK to Tony Blair that rhetoric, no matter how good, doesn't necessarily produce results.
Well, of course, but you know, we keep waiting for the Obama wave to break. It's been climbing and teetering. And are we on the verge of epochal change? Do Americans want to fix things? I mean, the only thing Bob Woodward could get Rumsfeld and Colin Powell and Cheney and everyone else to agree on in his books about the administration was that the American system is dysfunctional. McCain is a well-established contrarian on this and a great barracker of the pork barrel crowd, but he, you know, he doesn't have this aura of regeneration.
And he's also not
71.
21st century
He's
in the way that
71.
Obama is. Right,
71.
we've almost finished, but I want to know, as we stand now, after Ohio and Texas, but with Pennsylvania still to come, the next big one, can Obama still do it? Will he be the Democratic presidential candidate in
He
November?
can still do it. He can still do it.
Michael?
He definitely can still do it, yes.
Martin?
Well, it'll be gridlocked, won't it? And the superdelegates will decide
In Denver.
whether they'll go with maths or with arm twisting and all the rest from the Clinton
They
establishment.
may go with the one they think would win.
Yeah,
And that could be Obama.
but that's up in the air.
All right. Martin Amis, good to have you on tonight. Thank
See
you.
you.